Hi, recently I participated in Viz for Social Good Noise Solution Project. Viz for Social Good is exactly what the name stands for. They use visualizations for social awareness to send a powerful message across. Noise Solution is trying to help the youth through music to make them feel empowered, seen, and heard. Viz for Social Good collaborated with Noise Solution and came up with this amazing project. Intent is to show you the work I've done for the project, share my experience and learning, take you through my journey from the data discovery to planning to coming up with this final solution that you see on my screen. When I joined this project in the kickoff meeting, the members from Noise Solution team explained what they were looking for. A visually rich report that would quantify their impact as a project on the people they're working with. Let me start by giving you an overview of this dashboard. I wanted to focus on the positive impact of Noise Solution project. This big neon circle shows 67% as the positive impact. This chart over here, the male, female, and the others, are the breakdown by gender of the participants. Similarly, this age group bar chart groups them by age group, and the length of the bar chart goes on to show how many participants were there in each of the age group, total number of sessions held. The difference between the start and the end score is what drives the impact. So, what I did, and I'll get to that shortly after, I calculated the difference between the start and anything that was a positive outcome, I grouped as positive. Anything that didn't change remained this purple unchanged, and anything that didn't show a positive improvement, I marked as need improvement, and that's 24%. Scatter plot on the left, each dot signifies a session, and anything that was colored a green are the participants' sessions that generated positive outcome. On my x-axis is the start score that goes from 7 to 35, and on my y-axis is the end score. The three scatter plots over here on the right are the correlation between the number of posts to the number of comments, likes, start and end score. What are insights to the storytelling alongside each of these charts? Long and short of it is once the participants engage with musicians in creating music as a medium of expression, Noise Solution creates a secure site where the sessions are recorded, audio, visuals, and content is shared securely, and each participant is allowed to share it with their friends, family. Then the information gets shared, get an opportunity to comment and like. This gives the participants a sense of community, gives them a chance to feel seen and heard, and gives them the social validation that drives the positive impact. Now that I've walked you through this entire workbook, let's get started with the process of how I went from the data, understanding the data, to planning this dashboard, designing it, and presenting it. Before I do that, here's a soundbite about myself. I'm Ojo. I'm a data fam since late 2012, been 12 years doing Tableau hands on. I love to share my work, content on social media, and try to help those who are in the early stages of their Tableau journey. I built the solution using Tableau, and data was uploaded to the drive. It has the start and the end scores. It has the number of comments, likes, the number of posts, how many external members each of the participants had. There is an account unique key and a UIN number. Each account and UIN number stands for a participant. There's a gender field, which ethnicity they belong to, the age of the participant, and the date on which the survey was conducted. Now that we have looked at the data, let's bring it into Tableau and go through the process I followed to understand it better, which uniquely identifies the participant. First things first, I wanted to understand how many participants are there. On the bottom, it's showing 414 marks, but just to be sure, I wanted to make sure there are no duplicates. I grabbed the count, threw it into columns, and I sorted it from the highest number to the lowest number. I can see clearly there are duplicates. Each of these highlighted records are duplicates. I looked into the data. For the interest of time, I'm not going to do it here, but these cannot be uniquely identified in the data set. When we have duplicates, it's a fundamental problem. Let's bring in the count again. Let's bring in the end score and the start score. I can see there are duplicates, and the problem is right here. We know from the metadata that the scores can go from 7 to 35, 35 being the max number. 7 questions, each weighted from 1 to 5, 7 being the lowest score in the scale and 35 being the highest score, bigger number. Same with the start score. Why is this happening? It's because we have 3 occurrences of that event. If I do an average, it looks right. Let me now create a calculated field where I want to see. Let me calculate the difference between the start score and end score. This is a calculated field. I dragged in the end score. Now let me drag in the start score. Save. This probably looks right. 22.83 average of end score, 22.27 average of start score, difference of 1.56. Great. When I wrap the end score minus start score calculation in a sign, it can return a -1 if it is a negative and a 1 if it's a positive. Now, when I drag this to the color field, you can immediately see the challenge that I'm facing. Since these are duplicates, some of them are showing an increase, some of them are showing a decrease. So what do I do to encounter this problem? I thought about it, consulted with the experts, and came back with a solution. I had to clean up the data. I had to enrich it by adding an additional column here, column A, called unique ID. I can also call it session ID. Essentially, there are 429 sessions, but 414 participants. Some of the participants attended this program multiple times. As we saw before, there were participants who attended this program 3 times, and a few of them attended it twice. This data source now has this unique ID, which goes from 1 to 429, and the count of them, and the count is 1. There are no duplicates. To make it relevant to the context, I created this calculation where I am converting the unique ID to a string value and concatenating it with the ID of the participant. The concatenated value now looks like this. enriched unique ID from the data, participant ID concatenated to this value. Now, with this, my problems are solved. If I drag in the end score, the start score, now, because every row is unique, whether it's a sum, average, min, max, the numbers will always work because here we do not have to worry about any kind of aggregation as the lowest grain is 1. With this fundamental problem solved, the next steps were easy breezy. Let's look at the data. The data had a slew of postcodes, at least 100 different ones. Big deal. But what I had in mind, it wouldn't really work if I left it granular. I wanted to create a map that looked like this, where each postcode was grouped into. So I went ahead and I created a group of those postcodes, made it a little bigger, and then I had to use that formula which we looked at, the sign of n minus start score. I dragged it into color, the count distinct of my unique ID, the concatenated field that we created into the angle, concatenated field into the size mark. This would now make my each pie chart big. Then I went ahead and changed the background of my map from being a light to a dark. I hope this gives you an idea of how this map was created. The bubble chart, rather simple to do. I dragged the count distinct of the concatenated field into size, dragged the impact and the count into text, and the color over here into the color shelf. A trick that I learned, I used custom colors. Noise Solution provided us with branding. In my previous video, and I will leave the links to that, I've talked about how we can create custom colors in our preferences file of Tableau. I did that and I used the custom colors here. Coming to the gender chart, where participants are grouped by gender, I had to create a gender group because there were some entries that didn't have any values and a few with non-binary other and prefer not to say. I grouped and dragged the gender group to color. I dragged the gender group to the gender, chose this universally accepted icons, and picked a color that made sense to me. Let's look at one of the bar charts. If we understand one, we can understand them all. What we have in the rows is the age group. Similar to how we received the data, there were ages between 4 to 60. When I drag the count distinct, right click and drag and choose the count distinct of my unique field, I can see there is a good distribution of it. This is a bit too granular information for my liking. So I created a group where I threw in everybody under 13 as one group, 13 to 17 as another, 18 to 25, and anything above 26 is a group of their own. The null values, values that were captured before and didn't have an entry for their age, I called them as not available. Once I did that, my age group distribution started looking more like this. To break it down by the impact, I dragged impact calculation. The colors now break it down by whether it was a positive impact. I dragged under 13, 13 to 17, broke it down by the age groups. To show the text, I did so. It was a bit too much, so I went ahead and I said highlight. So when anyone highlights the legends, the numbers pop. To show the total, I added a reference line. I said, show me by cell, show me the sum and the value. This would show the total value by group. This is the template I used, the participant age group. I used to break it down by gender, ethnicity, and the referring industry. And it can be done rather quickly. I have the age template. I duplicate it. Instead of the age group, I bring the gender here. Now, this is a breakdown by gender. Duplicate, break it down by the participant industry. Fantastic. Duplicate, break it down by ethnicity, ethnicity hierarchy. Some work had to be done in grouping the ethnicity. It was a highly variant data. That was the build process behind each of these charts. I used some storytelling. I put the purpose, the science behind. I showed how to use this chart. I left this information that if you hover over the reports, the sections highlight. If you select, it filters, things like that. Instructions to make the life of your audience easier. I went ahead with more of the storytelling as to how noise solution measures the impacts, how the sessions are conducted. Also mentioned the vision, mission, values, and their slogan. And I added some of the images which double down as hyperlinks into my profile. Added the source of the data, my Tableau public profile, Viz to Social Good is a hyperlink, and Noise Solution logo they provided is a hyperlink to their website. Overall, I combined it all together, stitched it all fancy, and I hope this overview and the build process at a very high level gives you an idea of the method behind the madness, how I approached the solution, went from understanding the data, enriching it, doing the calculations, building each of the chart components, and then stitching it all together, adding the context, the storytelling, and the final product. If you find this helpful, smash a like button, follow me, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.